The film begins by introducing Lara Winslet, a volcanologist who studies seismic activity and the formation of volcanoes. In her profession, Lara is not alone. She works alongside many colleagues with the same expertise. While Lara is observing volcanic activity on a mountain, one of her colleagues, Adam, asks her to come down because evening is approaching. Lara refuses, saying she wants to enjoy the scenery around the mountain, especially since she and her team will have a week-long break from work. Lara tells Adam to go down ahead of her. Since Lara is the last person remaining on the mountain, Adam reminds her to tidy up their equipment properly. Before leaving, he also asks her to call him once she gets home safely. After spending some time taking in the mountain's atmosphere, Lara begins her journey back.
The earth.
On the way, Adam suddenly calls her, worried that she is still in the mountains. Lara assures him that she is already heading home. Shortly after the call, Lara receives a voicemail from her daughter, Christine.
Mommy, when have you come and gone?
Christine asks when her mother will come home and complains about how Lara always returns late. Christine is upset that Lara seems to prioritize her work over spending time with her. Despite her frustration, Christine always waits for her mother, even if it means staying up late. Sometimes, Lara's habit of coming home late also irritates her father, Nick Winslet, who looks after Christine daily. Nick often reminds Lara that she never makes time for her daughter, and this weighs heavily on the family dynamic. After listening to Christine's message, Lara suddenly remembers that she left her bag on the mountain. Reluctantly, she goes back to retrieve it. Once she puts her phone inside the bag, she decides to relax for a moment, enjoying the sunset from the mountaintop. When she finally starts descending, disaster strikes. Lara slips and falls into a deep hole. The fall leaves her injured, with her leg badly hurt.
I've heard it said again and again, nothing could surprise me.
The pain is unbearable whenever she tries to stand, and Lara realizes the danger of being trapped there. With all her colleagues gone, and no one scheduled to return for a week, she is completely alone. She gathers all her strength to stand up and screams desperately for help, but her cries go unanswered. As darkness falls, Lara is forced to spend the night in the pit, alone and in pain.
You're thinking, scream.
The next day, Lara tries various ways to retrieve her bag stuck on the cliffside. She comes up with the idea of stacking small rocks and eventually manages to reach her bag. Inside, she finds a few items, including half a liter of water, a pack of chewing gum, earphones, and some other belongings. With no real food, Lara realizes she cannot be sure whether she will survive for a week or not. To ease her hunger, she chews gum while carefully rationing her limited water supply to avoid dehydration. She then tries to use her phone to call Adam, but due to being trapped in such a deep hole, there is no signal. This makes Lara feel hopeless. During the night, she attempts to use her shoelaces as a rope to climb out, but her effort fails. Suddenly, she hears the hissing sound of a snake, filling her with terror. Then, out of nowhere, Lara wakes up in her bedroom with a pounding headache, believing that everything she experienced on the mountain was just a nightmare. The next morning at breakfast, her father Nick is visibly upset when he learns that Lara plans to go to the mountain, as it happens to be her daughter Christine's birthday. Nick scolds Lara for not being able to spare a little time for her child. Before leaving, Lara says goodbye to Christine, but the girl wants to open her birthday present together with her mother. Since Lara doesn't have time, she asks Christine to keep the gift until she returns later. The story then shows Lara heading to the mountain with Adam. Unexpectedly, Adam confesses his feelings for Lara, despite already having a girlfriend, Emily. Adam even says he is willing to leave Emily just to be with Lara. However, Lara knows how painful betrayal feels for a woman, and as a fellow woman, she doesn't want to hurt Emily. Without hesitation, Lara rejects Adam and insists on remaining just friends. Upon arriving at the mountain, Lara receives another voicemail from Christine, begging her to come home soon because evening is approaching. Suddenly, strange sounds echo around her, and she wakes up again, realizing she is still trapped in the hole.
Mommy, when are you coming?
Once awake, she repeatedly plays back her daughter's message, showing how much she misses Christine. Refusing to stay idle any longer, Lara thinks of another plan to escape. She ties her shoelaces together with her earphones and attaches them to her bag, hoping this improvised tool will help her climb out. Carefully, Lara begins ascending the cliff. But knowing her makeshift rope is too weak to hold her full weight, she tries using her phone again, praying for a signal. This time the phone actually catches a signal. But tragedy strikes as the rope suddenly snaps, sending Lara crashing down. The fall leaves her legs severely injured. It has now been 2 days since Lara has been trapped in the hole. She carefully rations her water, fearing what will happen once it runs out. Desperate thoughts cross her mind, even considering drinking her own urine to survive for the rest of the week. To suppress her hunger, she forces herself to chew only gum. Over the following days, Lara endures unbearable hardships. Her dwindling supply of water, the decreasing pieces of gum, the scorching heat during the day, and the freezing cold at night.
Knowing we won't have another opportunity to go back.
All she can do is resign herself to her fate and hope her colleagues return in time to rescue her. One night, as Lara reflects, memories resurface of when she was late to her daughter Christine's birthday party. Nick, deeply disappointed, scolded Lara for prioritizing work over her own child. In the middle of the celebration, Christine suddenly suffered shortness of breath. Lara quickly tried to calm her down until Christine could breathe normally again. Afterward, mother and daughter opened a gift together, a cute doll meant to keep Christine company whenever Lara was away at work. On the third day in the hole, Lara suddenly hears the sound of a helicopter. She screams as loudly as she can, but her cries are futile. No one can hear her from deep underground. Losing hope, she breaks down in despair.
I can't.
The next day, 2 police officers on patrol discover an abandoned car. Suspicious, they report it to headquarters. Meanwhile, Nick is seen fishing at sea when he suddenly receives a call from Adam, who informs him that Lara has been missing for 3 days. Adam tells him that he and the SAR team are searching the area where Lara was last seen. Nick, however, refuses to join the search, still bitter toward his daughter for always prioritizing work over Christine. That night, Nick looks at a photo of Lara. Though he initially refused, his heart softens, and the next morning he decides to join the SAR team at the location where Lara disappeared.
Unfortunately, no. We are doing everything we can.
By now, Lara has been trapped for 4 days. Her hunger and thirst have left her mentally unfocused, and in her delirium, she hallucinates, seeing a vision of herself urging her to commit suicide to end the suffering. But Lara knows deep inside that giving up is wrong. To preserve her strength, she forces herself to sleep again. After several hours, she is suddenly shaken awake by an earthquake triggered by volcanic activity. Feeling that her leg injury has slightly improved, she attempts to climb once more, but again she falls, accidentally spilling what little water she had left. Now completely without water, dehydration is inevitable. Worse still, the fall further aggravates her leg injury, leaving her in even more pain. The next day, Lara is suddenly awakened by Adam. Feeling an overwhelming sense of relief, she thanks him for finding her. Adam helps her out of the pit and takes her home, but suddenly Lara wakes up again, realizing it was only a dream. She often experiences dreams like this, born from her desperate hope of being rescued and her longing not to suffer any longer. Throughout her time trapped in the hole, Lara constantly thinks of her daughter, replaying her voice messages over and over. By the 5th day, her water supply is completely gone, and only a few pieces of gum remain. Determined not to give up, Lara makes another attempt to climb the cliff. She manages to reach her bag that was stuck on the edge earlier, but fear overtakes her. If she falls again, her leg injury could become far worse, so she reluctantly climbs back down. Meanwhile, Lara's father Nick receives a call from the SAR team, informing him that the search for Lara is being called off. Disappointed and unwilling to accept this, Nick insists that as her father, he can feel she is still alive and in need of help. Trusting his instincts, Nick sets out alone for the mountain, determined to find her. Back at the pit, Lara is awakened by drops of water falling on her. Rain is coming. At first, she is overjoyed, relieved that she will no longer suffer from dehydration. But her joy soon turns to terror as the rainfall grows heavier, filling the hole with rising water. Panic surges through her as she struggles to stay afloat. In that moment of despair, Lara remembers her father, who always knew how to calm her in times of hardship. As the water threatens to consume her, she breaks down, tormented by the thought that she has failed as a mother, unable to be there for Christine, who, in a heartbreaking twist, had actually passed away a month earlier. The voice messages she clung to were the only remnants of her daughter, replayed endlessly to soothe her grief. Filled with regret for never making enough time for Christine, Lara is crushed by sorrow, yet she realizes she still has someone left, her father, Nick, who has always been her source of strength. With renewed determination, Lara refuses to die in that place. She pushes herself to swim upward, and after an agonizing struggle, she finally escapes the pit that had tormented her for days. In the final scene, Nick is shown overwhelmed with joy at seeing his daughter alive, and thus, the story comes to an end.